Good morning. Today is July the 12th of 2022, and this is our regularly scheduled monthly meeting of the Alabama Public Service Commission. For the record, the public was notified of today's meeting dated June the 8th of 2022. Welcome. Thank you all so much for being here today. Sorry we're a few seconds late. We're not used to waiting on Judge. It's usually one of the commissioners, but anyway, sorry for the small delay. And if you have not already, please take time and turn your phones off or to vibrate or silence so that we don't disturb the meeting. And when it is all over, I'll do my best to remind you to turn your phones back on. And I'm sure several people are like, what are these new signs on the chairs? I know I see somebody shaking their head. Our videos, when you all stand up, get blocked out. And for the public, it makes it a little harder. And I thought if we don't have an overcrowded room, if we could leave those vacant from now on, that'd be great. And that way, folks viewing from home can see the entire hearing, but thank you all. And let me introduce my colleagues. To my right is Commissioner Jeremy H. Oden. To my left is Commissioner Chris Chip Beaker Jr. In place 2, I am Twinkle Andress Kavanaugh, President of the Commission. To my far right is our Chief Administrative Law Judge, John Garner, and below is the Secretary of the Commission, Mr. Walter Thomas. Before we move on to the prayer and the pledge, let me introduce some special guests that we have here today. First, from the governor's office today, we have Cheryl Fondon, who has worked for the governor for several years, and she brought today Grace Ann Porter, who is an intern this summer. And Grace Ann, please stand up and let everybody say welcome to you. Enjoy the Capitol this summer, and you've got a great person. Cheryl is great to intern with this summer, so welcome. We're glad to have you here today. And then we're really blessed to have the actual Attorney General here today, but we'll introduce him in a few minutes. Today, Tina Hammonds, who is very familiar to this room, who works with the Attorney General, brought in 3 of their interns for the summer. We have Lizzie Baker and Marshall Trigg, who are both University of Alabama School of Law, and they are students, and they are interning with the Attorney General this summer. And then we have Trevor Barron interning with the Attorney General, and he is a student at Berry College. But let's give them also a warm welcome this morning. Thank you all, and thank you for investing your time in our state government this summer. We're thrilled to have you all here at our commission meeting, but I know the Attorney General and the Governor are all happy to have you all interning with them also. Now, as is customary, you all know one commissioner gets to bring in a friend to offer the prayer and the pledge, and today it is a true honor to have our Attorney General honoring us with his presence today to do that. Let me tell you a little bit about why we invited our 48th Attorney General of the state of Alabama, Steve Marshall. A little bit about him. I know you all know him. He's no stranger to the folks in this room, but he was the Marshall County DA for 16 years before he was sworn in as our 48th Attorney General. But as I rode up in the elevator with Attorney General Marshall today, we talked about he is a graduate of UNC Chapel Hill. And I just happened to be there this weekend with my daughter touring, and I was told when I was there, you've got to call your Attorney General and tell him where you've been this weekend. So it was a lot of fun to get to ride up in the elevator and tell him that. But he graduated with honors from Chapel Hill and UNC at Chapel Hill, and then came to Alabama, which is home for Steve Marshall and went to the University of Alabama Law School. But the real reason we are so excited to have him here today is the fact that he is our consumer advocate. His office plays that role at the Public Service Commission. Many years ago, the court said that the commissioners could not actually play that role, that we had to be fair and unbiased commissioners ruling between the companies that we regulate and the consumers. And so that role was put at the Attorney General's office. And General, you have a fantastic staff. We really enjoy working with them, and they do a fantastic job. So thank you. And with that, we will, if you don't mind, come down and get a picture, and then
Thank you. President Kavanaugh, thank you for the invitation. Let me also, just as a special thanks, very much appreciate, as you well know, Olivia and Tina do a wonderful job here. Grateful for the relationship we have with your staff and the ability to communicate very openly about issues and appreciate that relationship. Y'all, if you would, join me in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, just so grateful for the opportunity that we have to be able to gather and assemble in this place, for founders who believed in a form of government that allowed for the participation of the public with their elected representatives, and God, this is representative of that today. Got a special prayer and blessing on our nation, specifically for our president and all those elected leaders. God, during a period of time in which people are struggling financially, we just ask that you give our federal leadership wisdom in being able to help deal with issues within their control that can help families and individuals throughout our nation. Just ask a special blessing on our state, God, specifically for Governor Ivey and our elected officials. Continue to give them guidance and wisdom as we protect the liberty of the people of our state. God, give them direction as to policies that would govern our state in an appropriate way. And God, give them discernment in the decisions that they make. God, we just ask a blessing on these commissioners and the work that they do. They are truly public servants. We not only ask a special blessing for their willingness to be able to serve God, but give them guidance and discernment in the decisions that come before them, not only today, but is what they will face in the future. We just ask also, God, just to continue to bless the staff here for their service. They do it for not fame or fortune, God, but because they truly believe and are vested in the issues of this commission. And God, continue to give them the strength and the wisdom to be able to do their work. God, just all those that are here today, thankful for safe travels, and would ask that you give them safe travels home. We ask all this in your precious name. Amen. And if y'all would join me with our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And next, I'd just like to say congratulations to both of my colleagues, and I look forward to working with you all, or continue working with you all, to keep our conservative agenda going here at the Commission. But so excited to continue work with you all. And next, do I have an approval and adoption of the minutes from our June the 14th, 2022 PSC meeting?
So moved. Second.
Commissioner Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Commissioner Oden.
Yes.
Commissioner Beaker.
Yes.
With there being no more old business to bring before the commission, we can move on to the new business here at the commission, and we'll begin with our Public Service Commission reports, beginning with our Utility Services Division monthly report given by Mr. Jeff Johnston, the Division Director.
Good morning, Commissioners. You have before you the Utility Services Division report dated July 5th, 2022. I'll begin with the Consumer Services report. For electric and gas utilities, the numbers were up a little bit compared to last month, but they're still consistent with what we normally see this time of year, with the heat increasing, with mostly bill issues and payment issues. Under telecommunications, basic service, there was a total of 3. Under other retail services, there were a total of 2. For referred inquiries, there were a total of 12, and the grand total for the month is 17. Moving to natural gas, under docket 18046 and 18328, Spire Alabama, Inc., it's the division report on rate RSE as of May 31st, 2022. Based on preliminary figures as of May 31st, 2022, the projected RSE return on average common equity for the rate year ending September 30, 2022 was 9.48%, and this is below the authorized range. Under docket 28101, Spire Gulf, Inc., based on preliminary figures as of May 31st, 2022, the projected RSE return on average common equity for the rate year ending September 30, 2022 was 8.87%, and this is also below the range. Under docket U5188, Spire Alabama, Inc., it's an application for approval of amended and restated intercompany revolving credit agreements with Spire, Inc. The commission had previously approved limits for credit agreements between Spire Alabama and Spire Inc. in 2016. They've requested an increase that is mainly due to the rise in natural gas prices and the recovery of those costs through rates. This gives them the ability to basically finance the shortfalls now, which they would hopefully recover in the future. We recommend approval.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Commissioner Oden,
Yes.
Commissioner Beaker.
Yes.
Under docket U5426, Spire Alabama, Inc., they're requesting approval of an agreement for firm transportation capacity with BBT Alatin LLC. This is an agreement that they have been discussing with us throughout the year that brings additional supply to the Bessemer-Calera line, which is an area of major growth for them. This will ease some of the pressures on getting gas supplies to that area, and we recommend approval.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Kavanaugh, Commissioner Oden, Commissioner Beaker.
Yes.
The next 2 items I'll take together under one recommendation. Under docket U5427, Spire Alabama, Inc., application for approval of a base contract for the sale and purchase of natural gas with the First Diversified Energy Marketing, LLC. Under docket U5428, again, Spire, Inc., application for approval of a base contract for the sale and purchase of natural gas with Skona, LLC. For both, we recommend approval.
So moved.
Commissioner Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Commissioner Oden,
Yes.
Commissioner Beaker.
Yes.
Moving to the water agenda, under wastewater, docket 31803, integrated wastewater management. This is a petition for approval to increase tariff rates for Integrated Wastewater Management, Inc. Staff has reviewed the filing and recommend that the filing be suspended for 180 days to and through January 28th, 2023. Integrated had filed their original increase in late 2021. That was suspended for 180 days, but they later came in and amended their filing so that they could complete the transfer of Arbor Utilities to their system before we did their rate review. Staff needs additional time to review the new documentation because of the acquisition of Arbor Utilities, and we recommend approval of the suspension.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Commissioner Oden,
Yes.
Commissioner Beaker.
Yes.
Under docket 31803, again, integrated wastewater management, for approval to renew Integrated Wastewater Management, Inc. Certificate of Financial Viability. Staff has reviewed their financials and recommends approval.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Cavanaugh.
Yes.
Commissioner Oden. Commissioner Beaker.
Yes.
Under docket 32553, Community Utilities of Alabama, Inc. This is a petition to modify the existing Certificate of Financial Viability. This expands their service territory by building the wastewater collection and treatment facility for the Buckhorn Subdivision Phase 2 located in Calhoun County, Alabama. We recommend approval.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Cavanaugh.
Yes.
Commissioner Oden. Commissioner Beaker.
Yes.
Under the telecommunications agenda, we have two amended interconnection agreements that I'll take together. Under docket U3871, Bell South Telecommunications LLC, doing business as AT&T Alabama or AT&T Southeast, hereafter referred to as Bell South, and Microcom, Inc. Under docket U5422, Bell South and Teleax, Inc. We recommend approval of both.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Cavanaugh.
Yes.
Commissioner Oden. Commissioner Beaker.
Yes.
The remaining items are there for information purposes only, and if there's no further questions, this concludes our remarks.
Out and over a little. See if that helps. Move that one over a little. Okay. Thank you. Next, we have our Gas Pipeline Safety Division, represented by Mr. Wallace Jones, the Division Director.
Good morning, Commissioners. You have before you the GPS agenda dated July the 5th. For the month of May, we had a total of 59 inspections with 4 letters of non-compliance, with 6 non-compliance issues noted, and we had 13 that were corrected during the month of May. We had 2 state reportable incidents. One was Riviera Utilities, where a plumber damaged a plastic service line, and the other was Boaz Gas Board, where a possible electrical problem caused a fire which spread to the gas piping. We have 1 training session at Leak City in Athens, where we had 11 people qualified under plastic fusion. And then on page 2, under miscellaneous, Daniel Trapp, one of our investigation supervisors, attended a 2022 hurricane drill at Alabama EMA in Clanton on May the 10th. We also had the end of the last segment of the official audit by PHMSA. So we are through with that and trying to get our letter ready and sent back to PHMSA to address the issues they found during the audit. Any questions, that is our report for the month.
Thank you. Next, we have our Utility Enforcement Division. Our Division Director is Mr. Scott Morris, but today he is out, and so he will be represented at the table by Ms. Amanda Sheehan, the Public Transportation Manager.
Good morning. You have before you the Utility Enforcement Division's activities for the month of May 2022. The Railway Safety Track Inspectors visited 3 rail carriers, inspected 235 track miles with 83 track defects identified. The Motive Power and Equipment Inspector visited 6 rail carriers, inspected 927 units with 243 defects identified, and there were no recommended violations. Looking at page 2, there were 3 incidents reported by the National Response Center in May, and all 3 were regarding trespasser strikes that resulted in fatalities. Track inspection staff attended the FRA Track District 3 staff meeting in Birmingham. Chris Hester, our Railway Services Administrator, gave a presentation where he discussed some of the unique railroad information for Alabama, recent inspection activity, and interesting finds concerning rail and bridge conditions. Moving to the Motor Carrier Services section, there were 17 vehicle registration numbers issued and 13 intrastate applications processed during the month. As of May 31st, Alabama was 78% compliant for the 2022 UCR registration. Moving to page 3, There were 59 delinquent letters mailed to household goods and passenger carriers that failed to meet the April 30th deadline. There were 2 passenger tariffs, 1 household good tariff, and 2 household goods supplement tariffs accepted during the month of May. And there were 2 compliance audits completed on Coleman American Moving Services, Inc. and Lambert Transfer and Storage, Inc., where both were overcharged the customer according to their tariff they have on file with the commission, and they were advised to remit that overpayment back to the customer. And then the Field Services Section staff completed inspections of Alabama Wastewater Systems, Inc., Tishomingo County Water District, and Asbury Water Works, and there were no discrepancies noted during those inspections. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, appreciate it. Next, we have our Electricity Division, represented by Mr. John Free, the Division Director. And we also have Ms. Patricia Smith, our Public Utility Analyst Manager, and Ms. Tanya Champion, the Analyst 3. Thank you all.
Good morning, Commissioners. You have before you the Electricity Policy Division's agenda dated July 5th, 2022. Ms. Patricia Smith will present the division's monthly update on rates RSC and ECR for Alabama Power Company.
Good morning, Commissioners. The first item on our agenda is the division's monthly report on rates RSC and ECR in dockets 18117, 18416, and 18148. Regarding rate RSC, the staff performed its monthly examination of the books and records of Alabama Power Company and determined the reprojected weighted return on average retail common equity was 6.36% for the 12 months ending December 31, 2022. This return is based on 4 months of actual data for January through April 2022 and 8 months of budget data for May through December 2022. As for rate ECR, the staff performed a regular monthly review of Alabama Power's energy costs for the month of April 2022 and determined an under-recovery of approximately $30.1 million. Commissioner, this completes my monthly report on rates RSC and ECR.
And the next item is under docket 18148 concerning rate ECR. Based on the current and projected status of rate ECR, the staff recommends that the current interim energy cost recovery factor of 1.960 cents per kilowatt hour be increased to 2.557 cents per kilowatt hour for the billing months of August 2022 through December 2024, unless a further change is agreed to sooner as a result of monitoring of operations or until changed by commission order pursuant to rate ECR and applicable rules and regulations. Absent a further order from the commission, the ECR factor for the billing months of January 2025 and thereafter will be 5.910 cents per kilowatt hour, and that's our recommendation.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Cavanaugh.
Yes.
Commissioner Oden.
Yes.
Commissioner Beaker.
Yes.
Commissioners, Ms. Patricia Smith and Ms. Tanya Champion will present the next 2 items.
Commissioner, the next item is under docket U3556 concerning the Natural Disaster Reserve. Alabama Power is proposing to update the reserve's establishment and maintenance charges to reflect current cost considerations and better equip the Natural Disaster Reserve to respond to qualifying events and maintain financial stability. In addition, the proposal calls for updates to the rider's negative balance charge, including changes to the recovery calculation and a reduction of the maximum negative balance charge that can be collected in any month. The proposed revision would be effective beginning with August 2022 billings, and the staff recommends approval.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Cavanaugh.
Yes.
Commissioner Oden.
Yes.
Commissioner Beaker.
Yes.
Good morning, Commissioners. The final item on the Electricity Policy Division's agenda is under docket U5425. On June 27, 2022, Alabama Power Company filed a petition with the Alabama Public Service Commission to transition authority related to reliability expenditures currently in the Natural Disaster Reserve under docket F3556 to a new reliability reserve. The proposed reserve and corresponding authority would become effective with August 2022 billings. The staff recommends approval.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Commissioner Oden.
Yes.
Commissioner Beaker.
Yes.
Commissioners, pending any questions that you may have, this completes our presentation for this morning.
Next, we have our legal division represented by our Commission Administrative Law Judges, Sue Ellen Young and Luke Bentley. That will be followed by Judge John Gorner.
Thank you. Good morning.
Morning.
The first item I have is docket 33256. It's the unopposed motor carrier application of Taylor's House of Camellias LLC, DBA Taylor's House of Camellias Transportation of Mobile, Alabama, for a certificate to transport passengers and their baggage. A hearing was held in this matter, and the applicant presented testimony at the hearing as to their fitness to provide the proposed service and their ability to do so in a safe and ongoing manner, as well as the public convenience and necessity of the service proposed. The applicant waived their right to report and recommended order at the hearing. Recommend a grant.
So moved. Second.
Commissioner Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Commissioner Oden.
Yes.
Commissioner Beaker.
Yes.
The next item I have is docket 33257. It's an unopposed motor carrier application to transfer motor carrier certificates 3892 and F3768 from Scott Childress, DBA Childress Moving Company of Stapleton, Alabama, to Childress Moving Company, Inc. of Stapleton, Alabama. I recommend a grant. And we'll take that with, if you don't mind, we'll take that with the next item also. Docket C-2302, petition of Western Express, Inc. of Nashville, Tennessee, for reinstatement of motor carrier certificate F4316, which was revoked due to petitioner's failure to maintain proper proof of cargo insurance coverage. Recommend a grant of the request for reinstatement.
Second.
Second.
Commissioner Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Commissioner Oden.
Yes.
Commissioner Beaker.
Yes.
Thank you, that's all I have today.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
I have 5 items on today's agenda. With your permission, I'll present them together for one
Be
bit.
fine.
Under docket C 20322, petition of Thomas French doing business as Moving It of Huntsville, Alabama for approval of cargo self-insurance. I recommend approval. Under docket C 20301, petition of TC's Repair Service LLC of Fort Payne, Alabama for reinstatement of motor carrier certificate F3546, which was revoked due to the petitioner's failure to maintain proper proof of liability and cargo insurance coverage. I recommend grant of the petition and reinstatement of the certificate. Under docket 31823, petition of M&S Construction LLC of Gunnersville, Alabama for cancellation of motor carrier certificate F4579. Recommend grant cancellation as requested. Under dockets 32465 and C18201, motor carrier certificate F4322 held by ZMC Hauling LLC of Loxley, Alabama, was suspended by commission order dated May 12, 2021 for a period of 1 year. ZMC Hauling has failed to notify the commission of its intent to recommence operations or relinquish its motor carrier certificate despite the request by commission staff to do so. ZMC has also has approval of cargo self-insurance authority in informal docket C18201. I recommend cancellation of the certificate and cargo self-insurance on 30 days' notice. And my last item is under docket 33231, APSC versus delinquent companies. Petition of LMK Communications LLC for reinstatement, and they have paid their inspection supervision fees. I recommend reinstatement of LMK Communications LLC.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Beaker.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I believe now we have Chad Mason, who will also be presenting several items on the legal document.
Good morning, Commissioners. I have 4 items, and with your permission, I'll take them together for one vote. Docket 32780 is the application of Lyft Inc. for renewal of its permit to operate as a transportation network company, or TNC, in the state of Alabama. Docket 32779, application of Razier LLC, also known as Uber, for renewal of its permit to operate as a TNC in the state of Alabama. Docket 33197, application of Cetus Technologies LLC, doing business as With of Birmingham, Alabama, for renewal of its permit to operate as a TNC in the state of Alabama. And finally, docket 33063, application of UServe Holdings, Inc., doing business as UServe of Richmond, Virginia, for renewal of its permit to operate as a TNC in the state of Alabama. I recommend approval of all 4 permits, renewal applications.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Cavanaugh.
Yes.
Commissioner Oden.
Yes.
Commissioner Beaker.
Yes.
All right, Madam President, thank you. I do have the last item on the legal division agenda. It's under docket 33182, and it concerns Alabama Power Company. On October 28th, 2021, Alabama Power filed a petition requesting the issuance of a certificate of convenience and necessity for the acquisition of the generating plant and all related facilities currently owned by Calhoun Power, LLC, which is located near East Aboga in Calhoun County, Alabama. In support of this petition, the company submitted the pre-filed direct testimony and exhibits of Mr. John Kelly. The petition was duly noticed by the Commission on October 29th, 2021. Petitions to intervene in the matter were timely filed by the Office of the Attorney General and Energy Alabama and GASP. Those petitions were granted in a procedural ruling that was issued on November 19, 2021. That procedural ruling also instituted deadlines for the filing of intervenor testimony and Alabama Power's rebuttal testimony, established a public hearing for April 12th, 2022, set a deadline for the filing of post-hearing briefs in the form of proposed orders, and provided parameters for the undertaking of discovery. After being granted a 7-day extension, Energy Alabama and GAS submitted the pre-filed direct testimony of Mr. Carl Robigo on January 20th, 2022, and then Alabama Power filed rebuttal testimony sponsored by Mr. Kelly on March 10, 2022. The Commission held the public hearing in this matter on April 12th, 2022 as scheduled. Alabama Power and Energy Alabama GAS each presented their witnesses for direct and cross-examination at the hearing. On May 10th, 2022, the parties submitted post-hearing briefs in the form of proposed orders, and that was consistent with the Commission's November 19 procedural ruling. As far as a recommendation on the matter, after an extensive review of all the pre-filed testimony, the discovery produced by the parties, the transcript of the hearing, and the post-hearing briefs in the form of proposed orders, the staff has determined that Alabama Power Company has demonstrated a need for the additional capacity proposed and presented evidence demonstrating that the Calhoun Power Facility proposed by the company represents a reasonable means by which the company can meet this need in a reliable and economic manner. Accordingly, the staff recommends the issuance of a certificate of convenience and necessity for the acquisition of the Calhoun Power Plant and facilities located near East Aboga in Calhoun County, Alabama.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Cavanaugh.
Yes.
Commissioner Oden.
Yes.
Commissioner Beaker.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I also have an off-agenda item that was circulated yesterday. It's under docket 17545. This concerns a proposed revision to the gas pipeline safety rules, and it is to incorporate a new GPS Rule 15, which would require operators to comply with standards for the calibration of their testing equipment. This was something that was recommended by PHMSA in our discussions with their personnel. So the staff recommendation is for the institution of a proposed rulemaking and notification to all interested parties that the proposed new GPS Rule 15 is under consideration. And the order that establishes that rulemaking proceeding will establish comment cycles, both initial and reply, which will allow interested parties an opportunity to provide input regarding the proposed new GPS Rule 15.
So moved.
Second.
Cavanaugh.
Yes.
Commissioner Oden.
Yes.
Commissioner Beaker.
Yes.
Lastly, Madam President, I have the items on the administrative agenda that was circulated. I recommend approval of all those items.
So move.
Second. Yes.
Oden.
Yes. Yes.
That concludes my presentation, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any other new business to bring before the commission today? With there being no more new business, let me remind you in closing that our next regularly scheduled monthly meeting of the Alabama Public Service Commission will be on Tuesday, August the 2nd of 2022. Just a quick reminder to turn your phones back on so you don't miss that important phone call. And thank you for being here today. And with no further business, we stand adjourned. Thank you.